In this video, I'm going to be talking about one of the most important rules when it comes to your money, and that is the rule of 72, or the rule of compound interest. And essentially what it shows you is how long your money takes to roll over and double. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Pascal Manigat and you're watching the Financial Ownership Podcast. And basically in this channel, I talk about ways for people to improve their financial situation. And I help people take what normally is a 40 to 45 year goal and change it to a 20 to 25 year goal. So make sure you watch until the end of this video because you're gonna learn exactly how you can do that. So let's say you're driving from New York to Boston. What you're gonna do probably if you're driving there, right, is try to find the most efficient road, or in other words, the quickest road to get from New York to Boston. You wanna get there in the shortest time span. The same thing when it comes to your money goals. You want to figure out a way you could effectively reach your financial goal without having it take too long. So to kind of start it off, we're gonna start off with some interest rates so you can see how this rule works. So say for example that you get 1% in some sort of high yield savings account. So basically this way this rule works is you take the number 72, Albert Einstein says you basically take 72 and you divide it by the interest rate, and that's going to show you how long it takes your money to double. So essentially if you put your money in an account that bears 1%, 72 divided by 1, it's going to take 72 years for your money to double one time. So if you have $10,000, that $10,000 would be $20,000 in 72 years. So in terms of trying to reach that goal, in terms of shortening in that time span to reach your financial goal, a 1% account bearing 1% isn't going to really cut it. It's not going to get you there in time in the most effective, efficient manner. For sure, it's really important to have an emergency fund, but if you're trying to grow your money, there's more effective strategies than growing your money at 1%. So it's important to find out what those strategies are. So now let's say instead of 1%, you get 4% interest on your money. So now basically every 18 years your money is doubling. So you might get that type of interest rate from bonds or some sort of whole life insurance or bond funds. That's where you would typically get a 4% rate of return. But every 18 years your money is doubling. So 72 divided by 4 is 18. And if you had 10,000 in 18 years, it'd be 20,000. And in 36 years, it would end up being 40,000. So much better in terms of rate of return than getting that 1% because it doubles a lot faster. But still, if you're trying to grow your money, just using those tools isn't gonna really be the most effective way to get there too as well. So the name of the game is how can you get the highest return possible without taking significant risk while you're doing it. Because you might hear some accounts or something returning 24%. So basically you take 72 divided by 24, that means every 3 years the money doubles. But typically if you're getting say 24% for something that is a passive investment that's hands off, typically that's going to be something very risky and it might not be able to return that 24% year after year. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. If you're looking for extremely high returns, it's probably not going to be likely through some sort of passive investments. You're probably going to have to make active money in order to get a return like that. Rather than say 24%, let's be a little bit more realistic. Let's say 8%. Let's say you get 8% from compounding your money. So if you take 72 divided by 8, that's 9 years your money doubles every single 9 years your money is going to double. But what type of investments return 8%? That would be things like real estate or things like the stock market. Those typically in the long term, if you take the total return in terms of dividend income and also the accumulation of a stock, or if you take the appreciation of a home along with say rental income coming in, the total return could easily be 8% in the long term. And that's not unrealistic at all, considering you're putting your money in a hands-off investment like that. But then there is the element of risk. Some people might say like putting your money in say real estate or the stock market is significantly riskier than the bank. Well, that depends. It depends on the way you're looking at risk. So some people might ask, what do I mean by that? So let's use the stock market for example. We compared the stock market with banks, like savings accounts at banks. Let's say you have even Bank of America, or Wells Fargo, or Chase. The stock market typically is going to be riskier in the short term, but safer in the long term. The bank is going to be safe in the short term, but riskier in the long term. Because when you stretch out from spans of 10, 20 years, typically the stock market can return something like 8% on average for that 10, 20 year time span. And if you compare it to a bank account is almost at this point guaranteed to go down in value if that's all you have your money in. So the longer that span of time you have your cash in a bank, the riskier it becomes because your money is going down in value because of inflation. Versus the stock market, it hedges against those things. The stock market is historically, if you talk about common stock, it's one of the best hedges against inflation long term. So in terms of accumulation long term, it's a safer asset class than just having cash. It all depends on how you're looking at risk, because in some scenarios, the bank might be safer if you're talking about a short-term scenario, but if you're talking about a long-term scenario, it definitely isn't safer than the stock market. Don't get me wrong, having access to cash is extremely important, especially when things happen, the economy crashes, or you might lose your job. Having access to some sort of savings plan where it's protected against market risk and you could access it without it being locked up or anything of that sort is really important. But there's ways you could protect yourself against market risk and also protect yourself against inflation by saving your money in the right place. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm gonna link a video at the end, and basically it's gonna talk about how you could basically take your investment performance and amplify it and double your investment performance by taking no more market risk than you're already taking. If you really want to learn a detailed video on how that exactly works and how you could save your money in a safer place, long term and short term than the bank, make sure you watch this video that I'm gonna link at the end, because you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. So hopefully you found some value in this video. I make videos every single week, both long and short form content. So if you like financial content on how to improve your financial situation and more effective strategies than just traditional retirement plans and things of that sort, make sure you follow this channel and subscribe. And also comment down below. I would like to know, what type of investment plans do you have? What type of strategy do you have when it comes to investing your money? I'd love to hear that in the comments below. So thanks, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.